I never thought I'd be the guy to catch his wife cheating, especially not during our honeymoon. Like, come on, we'd waited years for that moment, and I was fully under the impression we were finally rediscovering each other, starting fresh in this beautiful new city. I remember feeling so happy, so in love, so sure about everything, until I started noticing the little things. At first, it was weird stuff. Sarah, my wife, who's always been a bit of a drama queen, suddenly started acting like she was hiding something. She'd be on her phone more than usual, texting in private, and when I asked about it, she'd wave me off, call me paranoid or insecure. She'd say, "It's nothing, just work stuff," or "It's some stupid girl from my college days, nothing to worry about." Yeah, right. I let it slide because I thought maybe she was just overwhelmed with the wedding and all the planning. But the gut feeling wouldn't go away. Then came the late-night calls. I'd hear her whispering in the bathroom, her voice low, quick, almost defensive. She'd hang up and give me a fake smile, acting like I was imagining things. And the way she'd look at her phone, the quick glances, the quick hiding, it all felt off. I kept telling myself I was overthinking it, but deep down I knew something was wrong. Still, I was trying to be supportive, to trust her. I mean, we'd only just gotten married, and I wanted to believe she loved me as much as I loved her. But that's when I started noticing her behavior shifting. She'd be more distant, less interested in intimacy. The sex that used to be passionate and spontaneous became mechanical, like she was going through the motions. She'd turn away when I tried to hold her, or give me those bitchy little comments about how I wasn't doing enough or how I needed to step up. It was like she was annoyed with me constantly, and I felt it. I felt like I was losing her piece by piece. One night I caught her in a lie. She said she was going to bed early, but I found her texting someone late at night. Her messages with this guy, some guy named Jake, were flirty, suggestive even. I saw the way she was talking, how her fingers danced over the screen, the way she responded to his cute comments. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. I didn't know what to think. Was this just some harmless flirtation, or was it something more serious? Why was she hiding it? Why lie about being in bed when I knew she'd been up? I decided I had to find out the truth. I waited until she was asleep, then quietly took her phone. I'd never done that before, but I needed to see if there was more to this. I scrolled through her messages. There were dozens of them, all between her and Jake. They talked about everything: plans to meet, secrets, her complaining about me, saying I was boring, and how she wanted something wild. The worst part, she was manipulative enough to make me doubt myself, deny what I saw, tell me I was paranoid. She lied so smoothly, so convincingly, I started questioning everything I thought I knew about her. I sat there in the dark, staring at her phone, feeling a mix of anger, betrayal, and confusion. I couldn't believe the woman I loved, the woman I married, was capable of hiding this from me. During what was supposed to be the happiest time of our lives, I kept asking myself, how could she do this? Why? And more importantly, how could she lie so easily, so convincingly to my face? This was just the beginning of a storm I wasn't ready for, but I knew deep down that my life was about to change forever. The realization hit me like a freight train. I had all this evidence, the messages, her secret late-night calls, and yet I still wasn't sure what to do next. My mind was racing, trying to process how someone I trusted enough to marry could be so manipulative, so willing to throw everything away for some secret affair. I stayed up most of the night, staring at her phone, feeling a strange mix of rage and heartbreak. It was almost surreal, like I was watching some bad movie, but it was all real. When morning came, I couldn't keep quiet about it anymore. I decided I had to confront her, no matter how much it would hurt. I woke her up early, my stomach tied in knots. She looked annoyed, like she'd been expecting a lie-in, but then her face changed the moment I handed her the phone. Her eyes widened, and for a second she froze. That's when I saw it, the panic, the guilty look. She tried to act innocent, brushing it off with a quick dismissive laugh, calling me paranoid again. "It's just Jake," she said. "We're just friends, you're overreacting." I didn't buy it. I told her I'd been going through her phone, that I knew about her little secret. Her reaction was another lie. She laughed, then got defensive, saying I had no right to go through her things. She told me I was crazy, that I was spying because I didn't trust her, but I knew better. I could see right through her bullshit. The way she tried to dismiss it to minimize the situation made it clear she was hiding even more. I pressed her harder and her bitchy attitude surfaced. She snapped at me, called me insecure, said I was paranoid, and accused me of trying to ruin her. I felt my blood boiling. I couldn't hold back anymore. I yelled at her, told her I saw her messages, that I knew she'd been lying from the start. Her face twisted with anger and contempt. She nearly yelled back, accusing me of invading her privacy, of destroying what little trust we had. She was so manipulative, spinning it like I was the bad guy, like I was the one at fault for catching her. That's when I saw the real her, the bitchy, manipulative side she kept hidden behind her pretty face. She said she was just talking to Jake because she was bored, that it didn't mean anything. But I knew better. The way she was talking, the things she was saying, it was obvious she'd been having an affair. I was devastated. In that moment, I felt like I didn't know her at all. I'd trusted her with everything, and she had been lying right to my face. It wasn't just about the affair anymore. It was about the betrayal, the manipulation, the way she played me for a fool. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut repeatedly. I didn't want to believe it, but the evidence was too clear. My heart was shattered, but I also felt a fire burning inside me. I had to decide what to do next. I couldn't ignore this, not anymore. I knew I had to face the reality of what she was capable of, what she had done to me during what should have been the happiest time of my life. After that explosive confrontation, everything changed. I couldn't look at Sarah the same way anymore. The woman I married, the woman I thought I knew, she was deeper into her lies than I'd ever imagined. That bitchy smirk she threw when I accused her, the way she tried to turn it around on me, she knew exactly what she was doing. She was good at it, too. Manipulating, lying, twisting the story so she'd come out ahead. I felt sick every time I thought about her sneaky little messages with Jake, the secret rendezvous, the way she had been so damn convincing in her lies. I spent the rest of that day in a daze. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything, her words, her expressions, the way she'd say, "I love you" one second and then be sending sexy texts to some guy the next. The betrayal cut so deep I felt physically ill. How could she do this? How could someone pretend to care so much, to act like the perfect wife, then hide this terrible secret? It made me question everything about our marriage, about her, about trust. I was angry at myself for not noticing sooner, for not seeing how manipulative she was. That night I couldn't sleep. The house was dead silent except for my racing thoughts. I kept thinking about the honeymoon, about her smiling at me, about the plans we'd made, and how all of that was a lie. She'd been cheating on me during our honeymoon, the most romantic time of my life, and I had no idea. I felt so stupid, so betrayed. I thought about confronting her again, demanding answers, but what was the point? She would just deny everything, call me crazy or insecure, and spin some bullshit story. I knew her well enough now that I could see through her lies like glass. I decided I needed to get some distance from her, clear my head, and figure out what to do. I packed a bag, told her I was going to stay with a friend for a few days. Her bitchy attitude didn't change. She acted like I was overreacting, like I was the one ruining everything. She kept saying I was ruining our marriage, that I was jealous and possessive, like I was the problem. But I saw her for what she really was, a manipulative liar who had been sneaking around during what should have been our happiest days. As I drove away that night, I felt a mix of emotions: hurt, anger, confusion, and a strange sense of relief. Part of me wanted to just forget the whole thing and pretend it never happened. But I knew I couldn't. I couldn't live with this secret anymore, knowing what she'd done. I kept asking myself, how did it get so bad? How did the woman I loved become this lying, manipulative person? And most of all, could I ever trust her again? I didn't have answers yet, but I knew that my life was forever changed. The woman I thought I knew was gone, replaced by someone I didn't even recognize anymore. The days that followed were a roller coaster. I stayed with my brother, trying to keep it together, but honestly, I felt like I was falling apart inside. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face. Her bitchy smirk, the quick lies, the betrayal in her eyes when I confronted her. It was like I had been living in a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. I kept asking myself how I missed all the warning signs, how I thought she was the woman I loved, and now I was left with this wreckage of a marriage I was supposed to trust. Initially, I wanted to believe her explanations. She told me she was just bored, that Jake was just a friend, and that I was overreacting. Yeah, right. That whole time she was sneaking around, hiding her sex with Jake, manipulating me into thinking I was paranoid. I felt so stupid for trusting her. I replayed every moment, the late-night texts, her defensive reactions, her bitchy attitude when I pressed her. She lied so convincingly I kept questioning myself. Was I crazy? Did I see things that weren't there? But deep down, I knew the truth was staring me right in the face. Then came the flood of emotions. First, anger. Pure, unfiltered rage. How dare she do this to me during our honeymoon, no less? I had been so happy, so hopeful, and she had been lying right there in front of me. It was like she had been waiting for the perfect moment to drop the bomb to ruin everything. I felt betrayed, not just as a husband, but as a man who believed in honesty and loyalty. And then came sadness, the kind that makes your chest tight and your throat close up. I felt completely shattered. The woman I married, the woman I'd built my life with, she was a manipulative, lying bitch. She had used me, played me like a fool, and I couldn't even be mad at her anymore. Just tired, drained. I started thinking about what I wanted to do. Could I forgive her? Could I trust her again? Honestly, I wasn't sure. Every time I looked at her, I saw someone who had been pretending to be perfect, who had been hiding a terrible secret. It was like she had two faces, one that smiled at me and told me she loved me, and another that was sneaking off to meet Jake and having sex with him. That thought made me sick. I couldn't believe I'd been so naive, so blind. I decided I needed to be honest with myself, no matter how much it hurt. I realized I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I had to confront her one last time or I'd be living a lie forever. I wanted closure even if it meant pain. I couldn't keep living with this secret, this betrayal hanging over me. So I told her I was coming back home to talk face to face. I needed to hear her explain herself, if she had any explanation at all. But deep down, I knew I was preparing myself for the worst. This was a betrayal so deep, so calculated, that I wasn't sure if I could ever forgive her. But I also knew I had to face it head-on if I wanted to finally move on. When I got back home, the atmosphere was thick with tension. I could feel her bitchy attitude thickening the air even before I opened the door. She knew I was coming back to confront her again, and I could tell she was trying to act innocent, like I was overreacting or making a big deal out of nothing. But I wasn't in the mood for her bullshit anymore. I was tired of her lies, her manipulations, her acting like I was the crazy one. The moment I saw her face, I knew. I had to be brutal honest with her. I sat her down in the living room, eyes blazing. I told her I knew everything, the messages, the sex, the lies. Her expression didn't change much at first. She just sat there, biting her lip, trying to come up with some excuse. I could see the bitchy attitude slipping through her mask. She started to lie again, saying it was just sex, that Jake was just some guy she'd met at some bar, that she was drunk and stupid and didn't mean anything. She spun a bullshit story about how she was bored in our marriage, how I was not enough for her, and how she was just curious. I couldn't take it anymore. I told her she was full of shit, that her lies didn't fool me anymore. I was sick of her manipulations, sick of her pretending to be the victim. I told her I saw through her, that she was a manipulative bitch who used her sex as a weapon, who lied to cover her ass. I told her she had used me, that she'd been cheating on me during what was supposed to be our honeymoon, and that I'd had enough. I told her I was done pretending she was innocent, that I knew she was a liar and a manipulator. Her response was classic. She got bitchy, snapping at me, accusing me of trying to control her, of being insecure, of ruining everything. She kept calling me paranoid, saying I was jealous and possessive, that I had no right to invade her privacy. But I wasn't listening anymore. I was past that. I was angry, hurt, and I wanted her to know exactly how much she'd fucked up our marriage. What crushed me most was the way she threw her "I love you" in my face after everything. Like that somehow made everything okay. Like her sex with Jake was just a mistake, not a betrayal. She kept insisting it meant nothing, that she loved me, but her actions told a different story. The way she looked at her phone, the secret texts, the sneaking around, none of it matched her words. By then, I had made up my mind. I told her I was done. Done with the lies, the manipulation, the half-truths. I told her we were over, that she was a liar and a cheat, and I didn't want to be with her anymore. I needed to get out of that house, away from her, to start healing. Honestly, I felt relief and heartbreak all at once. Part of me wanted to scream at her, to tear her down, but I knew it wouldn't change anything. The damage was done. I just wanted out. As I packed my things that night, I couldn't help but think about everything I'd learned, the lies, the sex, the manipulations. I felt betrayed on every level. But I also realized something. I deserved better. I deserved someone honest, someone who loved me without secrets. I learned that some betrayals run so deep they can break you completely if you let them, and I wasn't going to let her do that to me anymore. The hardest part was accepting that my marriage was over, but deep down I knew it was the right choice. Because trust, once it's broken, it's almost impossible to fix, and she had shattered mine completely. In the days that followed, I tried to pick up the pieces of my shattered life. It wasn't easy. Every little thing reminded me of her, her scent on the pillow, the missed calls, the messages I never wanted to see. I felt a strange mix of relief and devastation, like I'd escaped something toxic, but at the cost of losing the woman I thought I knew. Still, I knew deep down I made the right decision, even if it hurt like hell. The hardest part was confronting the fact that someone I loved and trusted could be so manipulative, so willing to deceive me. I kept wondering how I missed all the signs, how I'd been played so smoothly. But more than that, I had to accept that she was who she was, bitchy, selfish, manipulative, and that I deserved better than her lies. It's cliché, but I learned that sometimes walking away is the only way to save yourself. Staying would have meant living in her shadow, believing her lies forever. Now I focus on myself. I've started seeing a counselor, trying to process the betrayal and rebuild my confidence. I've realized that I don't need someone who manipulates and cheats to feel whole. It's been a long road, but I'm slowly learning to trust myself again and to see my worth outside of a toxic relationship. I've also cut her out completely, blocked her number, deleted her from social media, and refused to let her manipulate me anymore. Looking back, I wish I'd seen the signs sooner, but I also know that some people are just good at hiding who they really are. The lesson I take from all this is simple: trust your gut. When something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore the red flags, no matter how much you love someone or how much you want to believe in the best. Because in the end, betrayal like this leaves scars, but it also teaches you who you really are, and that sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do. I hope anyone reading this who's going through something similar finds the strength to face it head on. It's not easy, but you're not alone. And remember, you deserve honesty, loyalty, and respect. Don't settle for less. Life's too short to live in someone else's lies.